monkeys, it's Alexa, and I'm back with 10 more tips on decluttering from Marie Kondo's life-changing magic of tidying up. I'm also going to tie it actually to some thoughts by FlyLady and even Julia Cameron, the famous author of The Artist's Way. Once again, I don't want you to think I'm crazy, but I went crazy down on the kitchen, okay? And one hopes that this is the beginning of a new leaf where, as Marie Kondo promises, this process will not have to be one that happens again and again. Those of us who have followed FlyLady's principles of home management know that she says you start with shining your sink. And it's sort of this absurd concept of having one spot of cleanliness in each room that then sort of grows. Marie Kondo, in a similar fashion, talks about not storing anything in your sink, your sponges, dish detergent, scrubbers, etc. So, as you can see, my faucet is dripping. So that's the first point that I wanted to mention. One of the things Marie Kondo says is we should forget about flow planning and frequency of use. And the reason why clutter happens is because we're too lazy to put things away. That generally it's easy to get things out when we need them. That's not the problem unless they're incredibly hard to get out. The bigger problem is putting them away afterwards, and that our houses will tell us where to put things. So complicated questions of flow are really unnecessary. So where this table is, which is an IKEA table that I found on the street along with a chair that I found on the street, that area contained a cabinet, and that was an unfortunate aspect of our IKEA remodel. We didn't quite measure correctly, so there was a gap between the cabinet and the fridge, and it always bothered me. I actually eliminated everything from the cabinet and the butcher block counter that was there, put the cabinet in the basement. They posted it as a free item on Craigslist, and a woman who was living in her van came by and took the whole thing. And here's another thing that I remodeled. Where these brackets are, I actually had a janky little open space of open shelving right there. I have decided open shelving that is below waist level is not a good idea. So I have managed to eliminate all of the pots and pans that were in here. What I am left with was enough space to start putting the appliances in here. I have the toaster and the blender there. I have a smaller blender, a rice maker, a juicer, and a waffle iron there. So these are all stored in the cabinet below the counter where they are all used. This is our very ancient stove, and it's lovely. However, it is very, very broken. Rule number 5 is don't store seasonings next to the stove because they get filthy from the grease. These drawers have also been decluttered. This top drawer eliminated some stuff. This drawer only contains lids now. It had contained baking items. And this drawer contains one pot. So look at all the space I have gained from decluttering. So as Marie Kondo says, a counter is for preparing things, not storing things. Point 7, she says, be conscious of the noise of written information. We had a calendar on the wall, and then we had another calendar over here, and who needs 2 calendars? It's sort of like, which one do I look at? Point 8, when you eliminate the excess visual information, you reduce it to only the things that are going to inspire joy. Point 9, appreciate your possessions and gain strong allies. I love that statement. Isn't that a beautiful thought? Everything that you own is a choice, and it's an ally, and it can help you if you cherish it. Here are the finished cabinets. I have really reduced, and like I said, part of the crazy town, I did clean all that out. And I also decluttered this cabinet. And so look at all these empty spaces I have opened up. And then following the Marie Kondo philosophy, this cabinet contains all the baking stuff. I've taken all of these items out of the cabinet. There's some dog medication, that little tiny glass collection, but I think I'm ready to let that go. And shiny and clean the cabinet is. So now we're going to declutter a little bit more and put everything back. And then once again, this cabinet as well, decluttered, was able to find a number of things that were taking up space. This section also, I have decluttered, but there's obviously more to do. This cabinet also has a lot of open space, and I'm really happy with the final result. Aren't you? Aren't you happy with how it looks in here? Aren't you happy with how it looks in here? Yeah? Looks pretty nice, right? Point 10, the whole process, which takes about 6 months, but the whole process taught her that letting go was more important than adding. Simplicity is harder, as we all know. It's almost harder to be simple than be complex. And to that point, I kind of hate it when people talk about elitism and that minimalism is somehow elitist. Minimalism for me came about with having no disposable income. I can then reframe that as a choice. This is my bonus point. Marie Kondo says, one of the magical effects of tidying is confidence in your decision-making capacity. FlyLady talks about cleaning as a blessing to your family, blessing to other people. The concept of caring for where you live, I can tell you from my YouTube statistics, obviously this is a topic that interests women vastly more than it interests men. We are accustomed to then devaluing that on some level. It's a silly female preoccupation. I reject that concept. Feminine pursuits are peaceful and beautiful, and they create harmony and joy. And there's no reason to believe that keeping a beautiful, clean, joyful, blessed house is any less valuable than building a house, building a building, concerning oneself with weaponry or strategy or warfare. Of course, I'm not saying that any of those pursuits are exclusively masculine, just like cleaning a house is not exclusively feminine. But it's something that comes up for me because I do find myself going, really, is this what you're living for, to clean your house? And then going back, of course, to Marie Kondo's point, the ultimate goal is not to have to continually declutter, is to reach a set point of possessions where it will magically stay tidied because you won't be purging in vast ways. Drawers have now been emptied and cleaned out. Melon baller, does this spark joy? I do not know. What Marie Kondo talks about reminds me of Julia Cameron and The Artist's Way. Perhaps one or two or maybe several of her chapters talked about different types of activities that we could do in an artistic fashion. Everything that you do can be artistic. That doesn't mean perfect. That doesn't mean clean. It means artistic. It means expressive. And so in this course of figuring out what essentially is you, what makes you happy, what brings you joy, and eliminating the things that do not, blessing other people with them or taking them to charity or recycling them, that's an artistic process too, because it helps you refine and understand who you are. And I really enjoyed this process. I'm surprised at how philosophical cleaning the kitchen became for me, but I hope you're inspired as well. Thanks. Bye. Which is the last chapter in the book. Marie Kondo says, a common mistake many people make is to decide where to store things on the basis of where it's easiest to take them out. This approach is a fatal trap. Clutter is caused by a failure to return things to where they belong. So she says your storage should reduce the effort needed to put things away, not the effort to get them out.